mostly just get rid of them.
I knew that Florida was invented.
It is a much more severe violation, given what we're seeing on the ground. We are going to actually be more aggressive in our enforcement beyond de-amplification.
Let's say it was a pro-Trump thing, and I am anti-Trump. I was like, oh, I banned this whole account. It'll go to you. And then it's at your discretion. And if you're anti-Trump, you're like, oh, you know what, Mo was right. Let it go.
One strategy is to shadow ban so that you have ultimate control. The idea of a shadow ban is that you ban someone, but they don't know they've been banned.
Oh, it might be the U.S. government pressure.
What? Why?
Because they don't like people messing with their politics.
Well, right now we don't make profit, so it's going to say ideology, which is what's led us to not being profitable.
Twitter does not ruin free speech. It's not doing free speech. Some of my colleagues are like super left capitalists. Like we weren't really operating like capitalist mode. We were very socialist. Like we're all like communist.
I'm an engineer in the messaging field. Maybe I could hack into her. Like, I don't know. Your sex messages and your like dick pics are on my server now. All your illegitimate wives and like all the girls you've been f***ing around with, you're on my server now. I'm gonna send it to your wife. And she's gonna use it in your divorce.
You know, we are focused on one account right now, but this is going to be much bigger than just one account, and it's going to go on for much longer than just this day. I don't believe this is going away anytime soon.
What department? I'm in trust and safety. I do all the policy work for safety policy. I'm in the controversial team. I've tried to like block people like Cernovich and stuff like that, and mute and stuff like that, but they still show up like all the time. That's something we're working on. I mean, how? I don't know. It's something we're working on where we're trying to get the shitty people not show up. It's a product thing.
Targeting of tweets.
Wait.
You can read it.
Let me see. How to protect yourself. Groups like Project Veritas are active right now.
Like some group that's trying to just out the employees. Like they're trying to go on dates with them like this and record them and then go sell it to the New York Times and say this is what the Twitter employee just said. You're lucky that you met me organically because I would be questioning everything about you.
Uh-oh, Alex Martinez. You might have an awkward conversation with your new CEO there, buddy. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to the rescue.
Okay, I only saw. I must have not seen that full video the other day. I only saw the guy talking about the date part. I mean, it was just a reel. I didn't know that they. That was bad.
Yeah, somebody on Twitter made the point that like all you have to do is be a hot girl in Silicon Valley, and you're gonna find all kinds of secrets out for Project Veritas, and they just keep on coming. But yeah, no, that supercut was hilarious. So yeah, that's one of the great stories this week, folks. There's not going to be an October surprise from Twitter anytime soon because there's a new sheriff in town, which I don't know.
Although, did you see what the new sheriff, who he tweeted at today?
Tell me. I mean, I think I've seen a few things, but tell me what you mean.
Hillary Clinton.
Oh, right. Yeah, he fact checked Hillary Clinton. Yeah, that's the other funny thing too. Like, there's so many weird questions about what actually went down there because people pointed out Nancy Pelosi's house is under like 24/7 security. Like, this is someone who is third in line to be the president. She has Secret Service protection. Oh, someone just, shows up at their house half naked with an axe and they have an axe fight. I mean, it's just retarded.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it either, it was a lover's quarrel or something along that line, or October surprise. Those seem like the two most likely options, or maybe like a little bit of both. They are trying to, the lover's quarrel got out of hand, so now they're kind of pivoting into an October surprise. Who knows?
They're trying to make something happen because they've had no luck making something happen anywhere else. Mark Kierniel on Facebook says #hammer time.
Hammer time.
Mary Henman on Rumble says we have no sound. Anyone else? I hear me fine. Let us know in the chat, folks, if you're not hearing something. Let us know.
Hi, Dwayne.
It says Patty P is the new sheriff in Plymouth. Welcome back to the program, by the way, Patty. Are you all right? You hurt yourself the other day, I heard.
Yeah, I hurt myself. Doing much better. Yeah. So
right on.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Bill Hamilton says here is fine. All right. So Mary Hinman, not sure what the issue is with you. Try unmuting on Rumble. That might be a thing. I know I always mute Rumble because we have to have it actually. We actually have to have Rumble on as we're streaming so I can see you guys' chats. So that does happen.
Hi,
Mr.
Paula.
Key 1982 on Rumble says, me and the wife are at the Dixon rally in Troy today. I was at the Dixon rally in Livonia today, which my co-hosts have advised me not to talk about. So,
Well, I'll talk about it.
all right, Patty, you can talk about it. I mean, I will talk about it too, but let me just say, I mean, I'm not going to be critical about that rally or about Tudor or anything like that. That's not what it is. I went to the Tudor Dixon rally, and what I learned was I don't like rallies, period. And it's not that there was anything in particular about this rally. It's all rallies. Because whenever I go to political rallies, all I hear, no matter who's on stage and what they're saying, all I hear is the sun rose this morning. The sun rose this morning. The sun rose this morning. They're talking about Gretchen Whitmer, and they're talking about the economy, and they're talking about the lockdowns, and all I hear is the sun rose this morning. And at some point, I just can't take it anymore because I don't need to hear the sun rose this morning for the millionth time.
So what should they have said?
No, that's my point. There's nothing they could have said. I mean, maybe. Well, actually, one thing they could have said is, let's talk about how you coordinate your precincts. They never talk about that stuff at the rallies, and I know they can't. I know it doesn't work that way and all that stuff. But yeah, that's one thing. That's one thing Tucker Carlson never talks about. That's one thing that Rush Limbaugh never talked about, is how to knock on doors and how to coordinate your precinct and election day operations and the kind of stuff that we talk about in this show. But no, it's yeah, Whitmer is a terrible governor. I'm like, yeah, I know that. I know.
But,
anyway,
but these rallies are great though for people who are not necessarily engaged, to see that there's this kind of this fervor, this groundswell, this community. It's not for the veteran politicos who've been through a million different campaign cycles, heard the rhetoric a million times. So that's why it's just, if you can bring a friend who is just kind of getting into it, that's probably the reason to go, rather than just to go to see the same thing for the millionth time.
Yeah, it's church is what it is. and actually that's probably not fair, because you actually should go to church, because you do learn things from time to time going to church, because you do get new stuff. And this is it's the thing with rallies, so they had, first they did the pledge, then did the prayer, and then everyone sits down. And then the MC says, "Hey, everybody, you sat down prematurely because now we got to do the national anthem." And hey, pro tip, folks: when you have a rally, pick one: the national anthem or the Pledge of Allegiance. You don't need both. So they have a they have a woman sing the national anthem, and they always have to embellish in the land of the free. I'm just like, can anybody please make the national anthem go faster, please?
Well, it wasn't like Aretha Franklin.
Then they have local politicians, and again, look, I'm not disparaging the local politicians. I'm not disparaging the debate. Or the rally. It's not my agenda. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying, for someone who's like, I'm a Republican, I want our side to win. I just want this to keep on going. And so they have these people come up, and this one guy, the one running against Rashida Tlaib, he says, I don't actually want to use the word dismantle the Department of Education. And I turned to the woman next to me like, why not? What's wrong with that word? That was a normal Republican thing in the 70s, was we want to shut down the Department of Education. That's apparently now a fringe position. So anyway, these politicians are talking, and they're pretty quick about it. I'm like, phew. And then the MC says, now we're gonna bring on someone who I know she loves to talk, but she's gonna be short. Linda Lee Tarver. And Linda comes up, and she's fine. I'm not criticizing Linda. And she wasn't long, she gave her rah-rah speech. And I'm like, okay, great. And then they're like, now we're introducing some person from some organization. And again, to me, it's like the sun rose this morning. Lockdowns are bad. And this one goes on for like 20 minutes. And it's just going and going and going and going and going. And I'm like, I'm here for Tulsi Gabbard. When do we get to see Tulsi? Like when you go to a concert, you're right. You have the opening band, and then there's like this bit. The opening band plays a song, and then the opening band says, "Are you all ready to see Metallica?" And the whole audience goes, "Yeah!" Like, "Yeah, so are we. They're gonna be great. But let's play one more song." And you're like, "Yeah, they're the opening band. They'll play something cool, and that'll be fine." At the rallies, it's just like, and now we're gonna say the same exact things, the same lines you're gonna hear from Tudor, from Tulsi, from everybody else. I'm just like, ugh, please just get on with it. And it just keeps on going. I don't know. I'm sorry, folks. I'm in a bad mood today. I don't mean to bring this to you. That's not what the show is about. I'm just saying I don't like rallies. So that's just me. But anyway, all right, Patty, you stayed. You enjoyed it. Please tell everybody why I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, I didn't see Adam there, so I'm thinking maybe he was in a different place because it wasn't that bad.
All right. Fine. I know. I was in a bad mood today. That's how it goes sometimes, people. All right, go ahead, Patty. Thank you for being here.
I thought it was good. And but tonight I talked to them when I got home. They were really engaged. He's been working with us. His wife wants to get more involved. That's Dwayne. No, I thought it was good. I mean, well, it was a 2-hour rally. So obviously, some people are going to have more time than others. I thought they I thought they did a great job. And those two organizations have been really organizing moms like throughout the state, the Michigan Save Our Kids, and then Let Them Play. So it was wonderful, I thought. And then, then Shane came on, and then Tulsi, and then Tudor. And I thought it was so great that we got in the car and then we went to the Dearborn one.
Not Shane Trejo. Although Shane Trejo would have been great too.
Correct. I'm sorry.
And by the way, again, folks, look, I'm not trying to disparage these organizations. I'm sure they're awesome. I know they are. And Patty is right. They did engage people. They did do good things. All I'm saying is I've heard it all a million billion times. I don't want to hear it another.
We all have, but there was a lot of people there I didn't recognize. So I mean, that's the plan. That's the goal, right? We want more people to come. That might be the first time they've ever heard the stories of these women. Like I didn't know. I knew these places they existed because Michigan Save Our Kids did endorse Nathan and Cheryl in our Plymouth Canton school board race. So they have like 15,000 members on their Facebook. And then the Let Them Play, we all know, what they did with as far as the sports and stuff and the protests on the Capitol, et cetera. So that's what we want, right? Grassroots.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, this is the point of these events, and they do serve a purpose, and there's a reason why people go. I see Jay Michaud is a kindred spirit who says, I've never understood the point of rallies. Everyone there always supports the candidates. And that's not entirely, that's not the only point of them, Jay. And I'm glad you agree with me about like me personally being there. It's just not my cup of tea. I wanted to be there to see Tulsi, but at the end of the day, I was thinking like, I've got things I need to do today that I didn't do because I'm going to this rally. And if I'd stayed for Tulsi, she'd have told me the sun rose this morning. I mean, and that's, again, I understand.
Her mom went to U of M. Did you know that?
Her
mom went to Michigan.
Tulsi's? No, I did not know that.
Well, see, you should have stayed.
Well, okay, yeah. No, there's
always... but with someone like Tulsi Gabbard, I agree that most rallies end up being, fruitless or a waste of time. But with someone like Tulsi Gabbard, who has crossover appeal, who was recently in the press as kind of corralling people away from the Democrat Party, going around with her and having rallies with her makes a lot of practical sense. I talked to people who hadn't really been engaged in quite some time, weren't too jazzed on Tudor. They were telling me that they wanted to go see Tulsi Gabbard with Tudor Dixon. And I was told by people who went to the Southfield rally at the Armenian Church yesterday that it was packed to the gills and there was a lot of enthusiasm in the room and a lot of new people. So I do think having rallies with someone like that is very important. And obviously, like Trump rally will just pour like rocket fuel on people like no other. So certain rallies can be important, but generally, it is a lot of redundancy and they can be a waste of time.
I mean, and just again, to be fair, I know I am not a rally person. I went to a Trump rally in 2016. I left that in the middle of Trump's speech because I'm just not a rally guy. I go there and I see people like, oh, it's like, it's just not for me. But that's the way it is, and they are important for those kind of people. Although I also do think, get right to it. You don't need 100 opening acts. They could have gone right to Tulsi, right to Tudor. Mark Kerniel on Facebook asks, has Tulsi changed position on guns? # Trojan horse. I don't actually know personally what her position on guns was or is, Mark, so I'm not sure. But here's the thing I would say to that in general. When someone leaves the Democrat Party, you welcome them. Period. That's all there is to it. They're going to have differences. When I got involved in the GOP, it was as a Ron Paul supporter. I came from a liberal background. My objections to the establishment were foreign policy, civil liberties, monetary policy, and globalism. I wasn't on board with the green stuff at the time, but I came around. They come around in time, and that comes from exposure. When someone is a lifelong Democrat and they hear from all the people, oh, well, the corporations are killing the planet and blah, 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 they get to believe it. And when they start hearing the opposing view, slowly over time, their opinions may change. So to your # Trojan horse, get real, man. I mean, Gabbard endorsing Dixon's a good thing. I'm amazed she endorsed Tudor Dixon. I thought she would endorse like the hardcore America Firsters, maybe like Blake Masters and JD Vance, who have a foreign policy interest that is certainly confluent with what Tulsi's always said. I always took Tudor Dixon to be, your ordinary conservative, so to speak. She's running for state office, not federal, so foreign policy is not an issue. Civil liberties are more a federal thing than a state thing. But lo and behold, she's endorsing Tudor Dixon. She endorsed Carrie Lake. She's endorsed Mike Lee in Utah. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's a praiseworthy thing. So
yeah, it's not something that someone who is controlled opposition would be doing. She is inserting herself in these races that are close and doing everything that she can to tip the favor for Republicans. So it seems like she's showing she's a team player. She's showing she's aligned solidly with the America First wing of the GOP. And I think we should welcome that and welcome, as she, pivots on certain issues. Don't give her a hard time. Let her rediscover whether it's, a legitimate epiphany or just politically convenient way to change your stances. Either way, it's good news for us, and we want more people abandoning the Democrats, especially because the Democrats have become so disgustingly warmongering and pro World War III and give all the money, all the billions to the defense contractors. That's the policy of the 100% of the Democratic Party now. So we can get people on the war issue. And that's probably the most important issue now, is to turn back our foreign policy and stop all the intervention and the spending abroad. So we got the Tulsi Gabbard, flipping on the Democrats is great news and something we should cheer on.
Yeah. Stephen Richard on YouTube, and he says, I was the guy posting on Rumble that I went to the wrong rally. The one in Troy had good food and had pierogies and sausage and beer and made you excited in the pants. So there you go. Thank you, Stephen, for that. We do appreciate it. We are watching the chats on Rumble, folks, and on YouTube and Facebook. We may hang up on YouTube. That's been our standard practice lately, is to hang up on YouTube somewhere in midstream. So we'll see. If you're watching on YouTube, you may want to try to find us on Facebook at Rescue Michigan Coalition, or on Rumble, just search for Rescue Michigan. You can find us on Rumble too. But yes, Stephen, we see your chats on Rumble as well. And yeah, that does sound like it was a better event. I totally agree. But no, it was a good event. I have no doubt about it. It just wasn't my cup of tea. But I did get to say hello to Ken Hernandez, and he. Go ahead.
Dearborn gave a totally different speech.
Really? Tell us about it, please.
In Dearborn, she just talked more about like, it shouldn't matter what political party you are, because in that area it seems like there's more people crossing over and stuff. So she did say, like, I don't remember all of it, but yeah, I was impressed like that she gave a different speech no one else did.
Yeah, so. It's not an easy thing for a politician to give a different speech at every event that they do. They typically have, it's called the stump, and every time they go anywhere, it's the same thing. And even working for Ron Paul, seeing him doing event after event after event, it was typically the same speech always. And there's something to that. Like we did one event at a college campus, we did one event at a black church in Detroit, and he gave the same speech in Detroit as he gave to the college students, and that was really cool. But there's typically a standard speech that they always give, and when they really embellish frequently, that's impressive. It really just is. So. Mark Kerniel on Facebook says, don't get me wrong, I am in with Tulsi. Walk away, just a general question, I thought. Hey, no problem, man. Hey, look, I'm generally speaking a pretty nasty person. When I'm in a bad mood, I get very critical. In fact, Amber O'Hare was going to join us tonight, and I gave her a whole rant about tonight. I think some of the things I was going to say, I threw out because I was like, this is just too mean. Look, it's nothing against the rally, nothing against Tudor. It's just me and just my general attitude about rallies. My attitude is, you guys want to make a difference in this election, the best thing we can be doing right now is knocking on doors and getting prepped for election day.
Well, that's what Rana said. Did you hear Rana speak?
No, I was gone by then.
Okay.
Sorry.
So
maybe Rana's been listening to the Rescue Michigan podcast.
Hey,
Rana said, you guys all look really good right now and rested. She goes, I want to see you on November 8th looking exhausted because you were knocking doors and working.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it too. I mean, look, yeah, we all are. If you're not feeling worn down right now, then you probably haven't been working hard enough. And yeah, that's part of it, man. I'm in a bad mood because I'm tired. I'm tired of this is election day fever. And this is what every campaign goes through. And when I work on campaigns in this is the time when you're working 12, 14 hours every single day. And it is absolutely brutal. But you have to, because you have this commitment to this cause. And I'm not actually officially working on a campaign, so I can be lazy, and therefore it's easier to be lazy because you're just emotionally so tired. There's so much going on. But what we are going to be doing between now and election day, and this I think is going to be the big thing, is what our plan is to be involved in election day. And look, I'm only one person. My guests, you guys in the audience, we're all only individuals. But what we can do when we have financial support is spend that money impacting voters in some way or another. And there's different ways that campaigns do that. And of course, many of you guys see campaigns do that in lots of ways. They'll buy billboards, they'll buy TV ads, they'll buy internet ads, they'll do mailings, they'll do postcards, they'll do flyers, they'll do all these different things. What I have come to appreciate is that right now, in this moment, texting is incredibly financially effective and affordable and impactful. And we saw this in the primary. We did texting campaigns in key districts. We ran hard-hitting attacks against some of our targets. And what we found is, number one, compared to other media, texting, we're hitting exactly the voters that we want to hit. Whereas TV ads, billboards, radio, etc., you're hitting all kinds of people. You're hitting non-voters, you're hitting voters in different districts, different states, and so forth. And then with other more narrowly focused targeted media, you're also running up against other limits. Mail is expensive, for example. Facebook is an unreliable partner, and I don't want to give them our money. I don't want to give them our donors money because they're the enemy. But texts, everybody reads texts. And that worked really well. So what I'm looking to do is, to whatever degree we have the ability to do it, we're going to be hitting voters with text blasts. And I'm looking at key areas. Swing seats, where we've got good people running for the legislature, where they might need help, and I'm looking at areas where we can do a lot of damage. Like, for example, Detroiters, by and large, probably don't support the radical transgender child sexual mutilation agenda. And where hearing about Prop 3 can do immense damage. So those are the areas we are looking at doing the most in. And that's what we're basically going to be doing in the next 9 days. That's what we can do more than, I mean, obviously every single thing an individual can do, we want to do. But in terms of how we spend donors' money, and the question I'd ask anybody else is, how's everybody else spending donors' money? And we don't know, but look at different organizations. Some of them seem to do it very wisely. Some of them seem to do it not so wisely. So it's up to you folks. But if you support the efforts that we've done, that we've seen being effective in the primaries, this is what we're going to be doing in the next week, is trying to move as many voters as we can by hitting key areas between now and Election Day to inform people about what Prop 3 is and tying that to Whitmer and Nessel and Benson. So that's basically the plan. And if you want to make us be able to do more of it, you can contribute at rescuemichigan.com. We are going to spend all that we can spend on this race. And that's how. Because I think Prop 3 could potentially sink Whitmer, Benson, and Nessel. And thank God, by the way, Tucker Carlson finally broke the story in national media this week on Prop 3. I don't know if you guys saw that clip. We could play it if you want. But anyway, I'm sorry. I am on a rant. Shane, Patty, what do you guys think? I mean, what's your sense of kind of where things are at right now?
Well, my understanding is the absentee voter, the absentee ballots are like only 30% have been sent back. People are kind of waiting. Have you heard that too? That's
yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I only got my absentee ballot in the mail like a week ago, which is funny because I went to my township clerk's office and I was very clear. I said, I want my absentee ballot right now. They said, we don't have them yet. So I said, okay, well, I'll fill out the application right now. And you're going to call me when it comes in? And they said, yes, we will call you when it comes in. We can mail it to you if you like. I said, no, do not mail it to me. Do not mail my absentee ballot to me. Do not mail it.
You yelled at them
call
like
me
that?
when you have an absentee ballot. She said, I will call you. Now, here's the funny thing. So my township clerk retired a couple of years ago. We got a new one 2 years ago. This lady, who's not the clerk herself, but her staffer, continuously have been trying to tell me, you can please check this box in the primary and you'll get your general election absentee ballot automatically. I'm like, excuse me? That's a terrible thing. No, I do not want you to do that. Do not do it. She keeps trying to push this on me. This is strike 3 now. I got my ballot in the mail, which I explicitly told her I do not want you to mail to me. Now I have to find someone, and I think I know exactly who I'm going to run against our township clerk in 2 years. Because we have the township clerk staffer, and therefore the township clerk who is pushing voting by mail on people. So, I mean, these are the things, people. But anyway, point being, I haven't returned my ballot yet. So if I haven't returned my absentee ballot yet, I'm not surprised 70% of absentee voters haven't returned their ballots yet.
Yeah, and so that ties into Margaret. Hi, Margaret. Margaret Earl had a question. Where can we get a precinct list of absentee voters who have not returned their ballots so we can hit the address with a reminder note to get their ballot returned? So basically, absentee chase.
City and township clerk. City or township clerk. You go to your city or township clerk's office. They should be familiar with this procedure because campaigns often do that. You can actually even get it from the Secretary of State too. Yeah. But yeah, I would say contact your city or township clerk and ask them for daily AV reports, and they will give those to you.
Yeah, we're doing that, Catherine. Margaret, we're doing that for Catherine's campaign, but she doesn't have all of Livonia, so she only has her portion that she's getting that report for. She doesn't have all of it.
Yeah.
And I'll weigh in on what I think about what's going on with the elections. I feel like it's kind of the same, situation that I felt like in 2016 when in the last 2-3 weeks before the election, you kind of felt like a sea change. You felt like a momentum shift. You felt a groundswell for, like you did for Trump. You're kind of feeling it again for the Republican ticket as a whole.
Yeah.
I remember in 2016, I was kind of like doubting myself, like, am I just so deep in this circle? Am I in this bubble so much that I'm like drinking the Kool-Aid?
That's
like,
what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, I didn't really know for sure, but sure enough, we did win Michigan. Trump won. So I feel like it's going to be the same sort of thing. We're going to see, not a huge Tudor victory, but I think I think we'll get the, if I wouldn't bet on it, but I think that, Tudor's going to pull it out. DePerno could pull it out. SOS is a little bit more shaky, but we could win some of these races, and I think we might be able to get like an upset down the line too. So I'm pretty encouraged.
Yeah, I things are trending great nationally. In fact, I got to talk to Shane Hernandez briefly today, and his attitude was optimistic. He said, I think we're right where we need to be. But I would just also caution people. It's Michigan. This is a state that the left has targeted for a long time over the years. They think we're supposed to be the union stronghold. They've never gotten over the fact that we're a right to work state now. And if you look at a lot of these national pollsters, they're talking about wins in Arizona and Ohio and these other places. They aren't talking as much about Michigan. We've got more to do. And again, I think the biggest thing is Proposal 3 and how extreme that is, and reminding people everything that Gretchen Whitmer did, that the Democrats are fundamentally tyrannical people that have destroyed your liberty, that have only stopped for either A, because the legislature and the courts wouldn't let them, or B, because there's an election coming up. You all saw at the debate, Whitmer said she would not implement the CDC child vaccine mandate. And that's for exactly one reason, because she knows how unpopular it is with voters. As soon as that election's over, if she gets that office back, she's implementing it. No question about it. So we have to keep on reminding people about how extreme and crazy the leftists are. I mean, Dana Nessel with the drag queen in every classroom. And by the way, let me play at least a part of this clip. I got the clip from Tucker calling out Prop 3, which to me, I remember on Twitter like a couple weeks ago, the Federalist covered this. And of course, and Shane, of course, you've been covering this on Big League Politics for months and months. So I'm but this was the first thing I've ever seen where some like national conservative media, other than Shane himself, covered this. And then Tucker finally brought it out nationally, where thousands and thousands of viewers in Michigan heard this for the first time. So here's the clip. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but here we go.
We'll have more news next.
All right, never mind. That's
Fetterneck.
That's what. Yeah. Uncle Festerman. Why is that not caught on? No, hold on.
That's Barnes, right? That's Barnes' nickname, I think.
Yeah, and it's perfect. Although I did see Ben Garrison, Gur Graphics. He covered that recently. He did a here. Let me put it up on the screen. Hold on. He did a Halloween cartoon, and he did the Uncle Festerman bit. Anyway, let me. I'll see if I can cut the clip towards where Tucker came on and talked about Prop 3. But yeah, it was juicy. You know what? I just remembered. It's actually on our Rumble channel, so I can just go to our Rumble channel, and I believe I can make this work. Yeah, here we go. Here it is. Unmute.
In a few weeks, voters in Michigan will get a chance to vote up or down on something called Proposal 3. It's an amendment. Democrats like Gretchen Whitmer are pitching this as a pro-choice law because it guarantees, quote, reproductive freedom to, quote, every individual. So it's a response to the overturning of Roe v. Wade. But that's not actually...
Well, like I gotta say, the lead there, troubling castration amendment on ballot. Yeah, troubling. There's a little troubling castration thing going on here, but
actually what it is. It's not just about abortion. Proposal 3 redefines reproductive freedom for every individual to include chemical and physical castration of children. gender ideology. The Federalist Margot Cleveland reports the amendment would give girls the constitutional right to be sterilized by undergoing hysterectomies without their parents' knowledge or consent. The right to sexually mutilate children. John Gibbs is running for Congress from the state of Michigan. He joined.
All right. So anyway, yeah, they do the whole. I mean, he interviews John Gibbs at that point, and kudos to John Gibbs for speaking out about this, because you notice Tudor Dixon didn't at the debates, and we talked about this at the debate watch, the last one, and I get it. You know, the media, the left-wing media would fact check her and say, well, actually, it's up to the courts to decide what the scope of this thing means and blah, 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 blah. And she didn't want to get into that issue. You know, she's trying to run on Whitmer and the economy rather than abortion, you know, so we get that. But John Gibbs is also in a tough race, and he is going out on the line on Prop 3, and good for him. Good for him for speaking out. Cheers to him. He's someone worth supporting. For sure. So,
hey Adam, Elon Musk just posted a tweet. I want you to analyze. I put it in the private chat.
All right, let me pull it up. Hold on. All right, here. Let me share the screen so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. Watchell and Twitter board deliberately hid this evidence from the court. Stay tuned, more to come. May 17th, 2020, Yoel Roth says, but also, lol, if Amir continues to BS me, my escalation route is Amir's OKRs are entirely based on fraudulent metrics and he doesn't care and may actively be trying to hide the ball. Literally what Elon is accusing us of doing. Huh. I'm a little confused because I'm not sure who these people are. Shane, tell us what the story is behind this.
Well, heading into, I don't know exactly who the players are, but heading into Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter, he put the deal on hold for a while, suggesting that there was this, big operation of bots to promote certain accounts and inflate the numbers of users and the activity on Twitter, kind of as like a scheme to run up its value in the stock market. So I think now he is saying that the Twitter board had hidden evidence proving this during their court hearings because Elon Musk, I think, went to court with Twitter to attempt to either get out of the deal or get Twitter at a cheaper price. So it seems like he's still, now that he owns Twitter, he's got the leverage to, I don't know, maybe get some of these people thrown in jail. That's what I would hope for. Or to, get some sort of restitution because of how he was defrauded by Twitter in their negotiations.
Okay, so this guy, Yoel Roth, is the head of safety and integrity at Twitter. And he says, but also, lol, if Amir, I don't know who Amir is, continues to BS me, his escalation as Amir's OKRs are based on fraudulent metrics. So, interesting. I mean, we'll see. We'll see where this goes. My question is, where is this going to go before Election Day? And I think the big thing is you're going to have a big problem with not being able to use Twitter. And, of course, the big story in 2020 was that Twitter intentionally suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story, as did all social media. But now the October surprise that might come yet might still be something crazy. Might be fact-checked by none other than Elon Musk himself. And that's a very healthy thing, I think. So we'll see where that all goes. Anyway, what else is happening this week? Brazil had an election tonight. It looks like Lula's going to win.
Really?
Yeah,
it was close.
2 percentage points. A couple of things on that, though. One is Bolsonaro, because for those who don't follow Brazilian politics, I scarcely do more than any of you do. But, they're a huge country. And Bolsonaro, of course, was regarded as the Trump of Brazil. However, both Bolsonaro and Lula were very much unsupportive of the West's Ukraine operation. So one way or the other, there's going to be this, Brazil is part of BRICS, and they're not into that whole huge interventionist thing. Lula too. I mean, he's a socialist, but I mean, there's legitimate reasons to think that he was politically imprisoned. Glenn Greenwald did a whole lot of reporting about that.
Well, what's interesting now is Bolsonaro said that there'd be 3 outcomes that would come out of the presidential election. He would win, he would die, or he would be imprisoned. So we will see if he lives up to that boast now.
Yeah.
I know there's been a lot of allegations of voter fraud, but you got to kind of take some of those with a grain of salt, because a lot of times those are a cope, when we lose. Now, how could anyone voted for the left? The sad truth is a lot of people will vote for the left. A lot of people will vote for the Democrats. A lot of people will vote for socialism. And that is, a horrible fact of life in this country and basically every country around the world except Hungary. So that's where we're at. But there could have been fraud. There absolutely could have been. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Bolsonaro does in the days, weeks, months to come.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, this is a good time to hang up on YouTube, because we might be talking about election fraud now. So if you're watching on YouTube, say goodbye. You can see the rest of the stream on our Rumble channel or on Facebook. And, we want to talk about election integrity, and that topic is verboten on YouTube. So we're going to